These must-see movies are worth taking your blindfolds off for.
Take your goddamn blindfold off!
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 movies to watch if you like Bird Box. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're taking a look at films with tropes and themes similar to the post-apocalyptic thriller that Netflix subscribers are Twitter-pated over. Number 10. The Thing.
We'll do you last.
Like Bird Box, this 1982 body horror flick traps several colorful characters in a secluded area plagued by a mysterious entity. The freezing backdrop of Antarctica makes for a setting that's chilling in more ways than one. Since the titular thing can assume any form, nobody is entirely trustworthy, putting the characters and audience in a constant state of uncertainty. The one major difference is that Bird Box is about what we don't see, whereas The Thing puts a stronger emphasis on shocking, grotesque imagery. Fortunately, when it comes to visuals, John Carpenter's film is also one of the most inventive and interesting creature features of any era. In short, it is the definition of a cult classic. Number 9. The Road. Bird Box is based on Josh Malerman's 2014 novel, which quickly earned comparisons to Cormac McCarthy's The Road, published several years prior. McCarthy's book was awarded a Pulitzer and inspired a 2009 screen adaptation that's considered by many to be one of the 21st century's defining post-apocalyptic movies. The story centers around an unnamed man and boy, played by Viggo Mortensen and Cody Smith-McPhee respectively, who must trek across a bleak, forsaken landscape overrun with unspeakable horrors. As is the case with Bird Box, the central theme of The Road isn't just about surviving, but also about uncovering a better tomorrow for our children.
What do you eat?
Whatever we can find.
Whatever you can find.
Yeah.
Number 8. Annihilation. Sometimes the creepiest locations are also the most intoxicating. In this adaptation of Jeff Vandermeer's novel, 5 scientists venture into a quarantined area dubbed the Shimmer. Although this danger zone is steeped in dread, it's also unusually picturesque and even captivating. It's like a prison you don't want to leave, which makes the setting all the more unsettling. The Shimmer is crawling with physical threats, but Annihilation is a philosophical thriller above all else. Much like how the characters in Bird Box become powerless while confronting the characters that have taken over Earth, the protagonists in Annihilation slowly lose themselves to the Shimmer. In both movies, seeing the light can also mean seeing the darkness.
They're everywhere. Malignant. Like tumors.
Number 7. 10 Cloverfield Lane. If there's a movie that'll leave you feeling claustrophobic, it's 10 Cloverfield Lane. As in Bird Box, the film follows a woman who must seek refuge in a confined structure when all hell breaks loose outdoors. What adds another layer of anxiety to Dan Trachtenberg's film, however, is that Mary Elizabeth's Michelle is arguably at greater risk inside the bunker. John Goodman gives an enthralling and disturbing performance as a paranoid recluse who's either trying to protect Michelle or imprison her.
Is that how you thank me for saving your life?
Throughout the film, the viewers step into Michelle's shoes, leaving us wondering whether we'd rather place our faith in a potentially psychotic creep or take our chances in a world dominated by nuclear fallout.
Stop talking.
Number 6. 28 Days Later.
Hello?
Few films released in the 21st century have had a greater impact on the zombie outbreak genre than 28 Days Later.
Hello?
At the time, it didn't seem like there was much left to do with the slow, moaning corpses typical of zombie movies. Director Danny Boyle kicked things up a notch, though, giving his zombies bloodshot eyes and the ability to outrun the living. The film's influence can be found not only in the zombie movies that followed, but also in many modern post-apocalyptic films. For example, the creatures in Bird Box could easily be swapped out with zombies, moving the star of 28 Days right into the world of 28 Days Later. Number 5. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Speaking of influential films, this 1956 classic planted numerous seeds that would flourish as both the sci-fi and horror genres continued to grow.
It's a malignant disease spreading through the whole country.
Based on a novel by Jack Finney, the film revolves around an alien invasion in which people are duplicated with all of their emotions stripped away. Although it might have seemed like a run-of-the-mill B-movie on the surface, underneath was a surprisingly thought-provoking political commentary in the midst of the second Red Scare. The film inspired an impressive remake over 2 decades later, and its impact is still felt in contemporary movies. While Bird Box lacks the political subtext, both movies address the importance and preservation of our humanity in the face of crisis.
How did you feel? You were probably shocked.
Number 4. It Comes at Night.
Why'd you break into my house?
In almost every post-apocalyptic movie, there comes a time when the main characters must choose whether or not to trust a stranger. This trope plays a key role in Bird Box, and it's even more prevalent in this overlooked horror mystery. Taking place during a global epidemic, the film focuses on a family scarcely getting by in the deep woods. When a mysterious man arrives looking to help his own family, the ethical dilemma that ensues pits moral duty against the desperate need to survive. Atmospheric and understated, the film admittedly may be too much of a slow burn for some viewers, but ultimately builds to a satisfying and heart-pounding conclusion. Number 3. The Endless. This psychedelic film doesn't necessarily fall under the post-apocalyptic umbrella, but it certainly has a hell-on-earth vibe to it. Directors Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead star as brothers who grew up in an alien cult. When Aaron decides to revisit the cult's old stomping grounds, Justin tags along to keep his brother on the right path. Over time, however, it appears more likely that something supernatural is indeed at play, putting both brothers in jeopardy. In the same vein as Bird Box, the threats in The Endless can't exactly be explained or even seen. All the characters can do is fight the temptation to give in and hope to break free of their cages.
We never give up.
Number 2. Monsters. 4 years before directing Godzilla, Gareth Edwards brought us a very different kind of kaiju movie. Although the giant monsters are rarely seen in this sci-fi film, their presence is often felt thanks to the treacherous environment they inhabit. Just as Bird Box found moments of hope amidst all the doom and gloom, however, so does this film. The story is primarily about a romance between a photojournalist and his boss's daughter as they travel across the danger zone. As intense as some scenes are, much of the film plays out like a romantic drama like Lost in Translation. Like Bird Box, it brilliantly demonstrates how love can blossom in even the most unlikely places. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
There's nothing out there. Nothing in the mist.
What if you're wrong?
Then I guess the joke would be on me.
Number 1. A Quiet Place.
You're safe. They can't hear us.
It's hard to think of a better companion piece for Bird Box than A Quiet Place, which was released less than a year earlier. In Bird Box, the characters must keep their eyes concealed in order to avoid the monsters lurking outside. In John Krasinski's masterful thriller, noise-sensitive creatures have taken over, requiring the characters to remain dead silent. The parallels don't end there, as both films are about parents connecting with their children in a post-apocalyptic environment.
You're all right.
Between the two, A Quiet Place relies less on exposition and dialogue, which makes sense given its setup. But both work as classic horror stories, while also serving as effective family dramas with a lot of heart. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.